We'll keep the old vanity sink as it sits. These lights are gonna stay because they're presentable. There was a couple patches he had to do on the wall here, but other than that, the master looks good. Take out the carpet. I don't understand why you'd ever have carpet inside of a bathroom, but for each their own. I guess builders used to operate differently. So anyways, we'll peel this up. We'll put some nice LVP on the floor here. We just pulled up to Northeast Columbia at the Cranley Road flip. Now this house we purchased for $110,000. In this situation, there was a remaining mortgage balance of $95,000 owed. We ended up assuming the mortgage balance on the property and we paid the difference, which ended up amounting to about $15,000 to meet the difference in that purchase price. Now, as far as the work that needs done, the house really wasn't in too bad of condition. We ended up having to mud all the walls, patch a few holes in the wall. Jesse came through, he sprayed the entire house from top to bottom. He's in the process of rolling it out with a real thick 18-inch naps, at which point he can cut in. We'll lay some flooring and really just touch up the rest with a nice little lipstick job. Let's check it out. So we've tried it a couple different ways. I used to have 2 separate crews running around the clock, and we had 3 people on one crew and 2 on the other, where we'd have a floater who would fill in where needed. And seeing both sides of that spectrum, Jesse himself, as a one-man crew, literally handles the amount of work and productivity that the whole team used to produce. So again, running a large organization or large crews is not always the best answer. The key is finding skilled labor and finding people that are 100% sold out for your team and your vision. So let's go ahead and take a look around the house just to check on the progress. And we can watch Jesse as he's literally painting and cutting in these lines with a paint sprayer. Tell me that ain't skills right there. This man takes his paddle up there and like butter, he just cuts it in. So again, the house didn't need a whole lot of work. There was a couple holes in the wall that needed to be patched up. Some of the bathrooms were a little bit outdated. We'll take a look in the master here. We can keep most of this. We went ahead and just did a coat of paint over the vanity. We'll keep the old vanity sink as it sits. These lights are going to stay because they're presentable. There was a couple patches he had to do on the wall here, but other than that, the master looks good. Take out the carpet. I don't understand why you'd ever have carpet inside of a bathroom, but for each their own. I guess builders used to operate differently. So anyways, we'll peel this up. We'll put some nice LVP on the floor here, and we'll carry that out throughout the rest of the house. So talking about the process with these rehab projects, depending on the scope of work that actually needs to be done, lipstick jobs and quick turns like this really are a pretty simple process. Again, we always start high, right? So you want to cover all the imperfections. You want to patch up any impurities in the wall. Make sure all that's clean to go. Once you have a clean surface, we start with spraying it, right? We usually do a coat of Kilts. The Kills paint gives it a nice coat from top to bottom. After that, Jesse will come with some sealing paint, nice white coat. And then from there, we're clean to start filling in the walls and cutting in as we work our way down to the floor. Again, because we're keeping a lot of the existing light fixtures and ceiling fans in the house, he went ahead and just wrapped these things up just for a quick coat, and it makes for easy installation on the back end as well. Again, it's a pretty quick turn. We didn't have to do any foundation or structural type of work, so it makes it easy. Once the painting is done, at that point we can rip up this old carpet. And the cool thing when you're not saving any of the flooring is that the carpet that's sitting here can really just be used as your layer, right? Because it's going to be trashed regardless. So it gives him the ability to come in quickly. He can make his moves, do the work from the top down. And when we get ready for the point to lay flooring, which is one of the last things that we want to do before we move on out of the house. Rip up all the flooring. We'll lay some floating floor, some luxury vinyl LVP. And at that point, we can go to the outside of the house, secure the perimeter, and make sure that everything looks good to go on the backside. So next step in the process, as Jesse gets closer to his end result, is we're gonna go ahead and put together a punch list, right? Punch list is very simple. It's simply a scope of work where we'll walk the entire house when he's getting close to project completion. Usually the best way to do this, we'll have a piece of blue tape in our hand, and I'll walk through the house with my Site Audit Pro app. Let's take a look on this. So the Site Audit Pro app is super cool. As soon as I pull it up, we got a new project. For the info, we'll just put Cranley Flip, right? That's done. Moving to the issues list. So at this stage, we're not quite ready for the punch list, but we'll walk through just to show you guys a quick scope. Ideally, the best time to go through this is once they get all the paint on the walls and we're getting to a close point where we're close to completion, but we want to get a final walkthrough as we go through the property to make sure that they're not missing anything on their side. Again, different perspectives might see different aspects that need to be touched up. So if we were to walk the project, which at this point we're probably about a week and a half out, right? We'd start walking the property and figuring out what needs to be done. So when it comes to the punch phase, we'll have a follow-up video that you guys can check out. But just for some quick information, especially if you're new to the rehabbing game, is you're gonna walk through the house, right? And just find if there's impurities or if there's something on the wall that needs touched up. Like Jesse's real clean with his painting. In some cases, we'll get a little bit of overspray, as you can see up here. But his plan in coming in here is he can cut that in with a paintbrush real quick on the way out, right? So I don't have to tell Jesse, but if I'm putting together a punch list that needs to be prepared, I would use the photo as pictured on the screen and say, clean up, cutting on ceiling, right? Real simple, and it directs them to the point exactly where it's located, right? So we'd put in master living space, clean up, cutting on the left side of the ceiling/wall where they intersect, period. Pretty simple, but again, by utilizing technology and putting a quick punch together, you can print out a quick site audit report to hand to your crews so that they stay on track and they can be efficient in pushing through the process. Now, same thing in here if I'm walking through and I see something, right? Maybe we're missing a knob in the bathroom, or maybe the shower head needs adjusted, or whatever the case might be. It's our job at that point when we're going through the walkthrough, getting close to project completion, that we can point out the small little issues so that they don't wrap the entire project up, put their finishing touches, and then we have a couple things to identify. So checking on here. Again, not a whole lot of complaints in here, right? But we're assuming all this taped off material in here would get taken off, right? And we can just make sure that, okay, everything's clean, it's cut in well, it's got all the light bulbs, got everything else so it's presentable and ready to be list ready.